Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to week 17 of WiggyWam Get Your Property Questions Answered weekly webinars. I'm really thrilled that you're here with us, and I want to wish you a Merry Christmas, first of all. I hope you had a good one. It was only a few days ago, although for some of you might seem like a lifetime ago, depending upon how you spent Christmas and also the last few days. I know quite a few people have been out and about in the various shopping centres across the country in the sort of Boxing Day sales, and that seems to be absolute bedlam. So I'm beginning to wonder whether or not there is a recession actually here or on the horizon, based on the amount of people that have certainly been in the local shopping centres recently. I got the idea that because the in-laws are over here from India at the moment and they quite enjoy going to different shopping centres, that I would gift my mother-in-law a sort of chauffeur-driven shopping experience, if you like, and took her down to Vista Village. And I've got to be honest with you, on Boxing Day, I was absolutely blown away at the amount of people that were there. I mean, it was literally shoulder to shoulder people walking through the shops. And for me, I'll be honest, not that it's all about me, because obviously it wasn't my Christmas gift, but yeah, crowds and that sort of thing in close proximity, that many people all pushing and shoving one another. It was just, it proved to be absolute bedlam, to be honest with you. So I don't know whether you guys have been out and about in the shops, whether you've been out there spending money, or whether or not you've actually chosen to avoid all of that, which is probably very sensible, but whatever you've been doing, I hope you've had a lovely time. I know Christmas can be a very interesting time, as I say, for a lot of people. So however you chose to spend it, I hope it was a good one, and it brought you some time to reflect on certain things, and to perhaps give you some breathing space before going into 2023. With renewed hope for what the year might bring, and of course all of the various different hopes and dreams that we have when we tend to set New Year's resolutions and all the rest of it for our life and our businesses, etc. So in case you didn't catch it, I just wanted to make you guys aware as well that we actually extended the deadline to our Christmas giveaway. It's a WiggyWam £50,000 Christmas giveaway. This was on the basis of a conversation I had with my team, if I'm honest, in the background, that I kind of pulled the trigger on this great idea that we would do this giveaway. And at the time of getting caught up in all my enthusiasm to pull the trigger on something and get it done, it kind of didn't occur to me that a lot of agents and solicitors and surveyors, etc., would be wrapping up in time for Christmas, and would have missed the opportunity to enter into the prize draw. So we decided to extend that until midnight on New Year's Eve. And what this is all about is to offer 10 places on our 12-week roadmap. And the whole idea of this roadmap is that it will build an additional 20% of revenue to your business in the next 90 days. So if you're doing, I don't know, £100,000 a year turnover in your business, we will guarantee that you'll be doing 120,000 in the next 90 days. And that might not sound like a huge amount, but what I've seen behind the sscenes with a lot of businesses is that that additional 20% could make a massive difference to the bottom line of your business. And obviously, you know, if you've got more than one office, or your business is a lot bigger, then it can make a much, much, much bigger difference. So that is our guarantee. It's not a promise that we'll make 20% additional revenue in the next 90 days working alongside you. It is a guarantee. So if I haven't made that clear in previous videos, please forgive me. But I just wanted to provide that opportunity to you guys who are part of the WiggyWam community, you amazing ladies and gentlemen out there that watch these videos, that share these videos online, that are interested in taking their business to the next level, because I do believe that 2023 as a market is going to be quite tough, particularly in the property market. And I think the important part about doing this as a giveaway is to give this opportunity to perhaps those who need it most, and perhaps those people who wouldn't necessarily reach out to us for something like this for whatever reason, whether they think it's too good to be true, or whatever else, whatever self-limiting belief goes through somebody's mind as to why they would or would not reach out and take advantage of something like this. So for those of you that want to take part, our email address is happytohelp@wiggywam.co.uk. That's happytohelp@wiggywam.co.uk, and all you need to do is put in the subject line Christmas giveaway. That's Christmas giveaway in the subject line of the email, and just send it in to us, and then we'll draw those names out of a hat coming up for, well, it'll be Christmas Day now. Sorry, New Year's Day rather than Christmas Day. It'll be New Year's Day, and once I've got those names, I'll notify you via email, and then we'll be in contact with fixing up running over the course of the next 3 months to make your business really work. And what I found with this sort of thing is that it will continue to compound. So the work that we do over the course of the next 90 days will really put you on a different trajectory with your business, which will allow you to keep building and keep implementing the things that we talk about during the course of that 90 days. So that 20% in effect could be applied year on year on year to your business, which over the course of 5 years or so would make a huge difference to where you are and where you want to be. So I hope that gives you some clarity around that giveaway, ladies and gents. Apologies if I've made it a little bit muddled in how we've been putting that across in previous videos, but just wanted to give you guys the opportunity to be involved in that if you want to. As I've said before, take it or leave it. It's up to you whether or not you want to be involved. That's entirely up to you. But if you do know of anybody who you think might benefit from being part of it, then please do share this video with them. And we've kept the barrier to entry to the competition pretty low in order to make it widely available to everybody. So just wanted to give you that clarity, ladies and gents. So thank you for that. Pretty excited about gearing up for the new year ourselves, if I'm honest. Lots going on, and all will be revealed very soon. But let's not delay. Let's get straight into this week's questions. First question this week is coming in from Donna. Hi there, Donna. Thank you for being part of our amazing WiggyWam community. So Donna says, in last week's video, you mentioned that different people may choose to spend Christmas in many different ways. How did you choose to spend Christmas this year, and how does it compare to previous years? Well, that's a nice question, Donna. Thank you for that. I suppose getting to know me a little bit more behind the scenes about my personal life and how I've chosen to spend it. It's been very interesting. I think I might have said on last week's video that I found Christmas a really a difficult time for a lot of different reasons. I found it to be, I've become a little bit disillusioned with it in a lot of ways, because I've found that having worked previously in retail, so when I was 16, 17, 18, I had a part-time job in a shopping centre, and that was just to get some cash coming in. And I seemed to be richer then than I've ever been in my entire life, believe it or not. For some reason, that pay packet that you earned in that part-time job always seemed to last forever, and you could go out on a Friday, Saturday night and still have money left on a Sunday. But the point is, in that shopping centre job, particularly around Christmas, it used to be so busy, so incredibly busy with people coming in, and the Christmas music would start in sort of mid to late October, and then all through November. So by the time you got to December, that Christmas music, you know, it kind of done your head in, and excuse me, you were a little bit disillusioned with the whole idea of Christmas and what it was all about. And as time has gone on, you know, sort of family relationships may change or alter, or different people get involved. And I found Christmas to be, as I say, quite difficult. So some of the best Christmases I've had in previous years have been when I've actually chosen to spend it alone, believe it or not. As I say, I've had some Christmases in probably the last 5 or 6 years, maybe, where I've actually chosen to just be with me and the dog, and it's been fantastic. I've just chosen to not do anything, and I've just chosen to, other than to go out and do some walking, had a really nice Christmas day, and had some really good food, watched Die Hard as a traditional Christmas movie, if you like, and actually found it a real contrast to the pressure that's put upon us to, you know, go out there and buy all these different gifts for different people. I've done some charitable work as well when I've chosen to be on my own, but I choose not to talk about that charitable work, because I'm a big believer that your charitable work should be between you and God, if you like, and it shouldn't be something that you broadcast all on social media. I think a lot of people do that for the wrong reasons, and it's all about publicity rather than actually the true essence of why you're doing charity work. So that's something that I've done in the past. I've also spent Christmas abroad, which has been fantastic, if I'm honest. So just going away to Tenerife or somewhere like that and enjoying the sunshine for a few days, excuse me, has been absolutely tremendous. I've really enjoyed that. You just go away, somebody else takes care of it all. There's no pressure to deliver the perfect Christmas meal and all the rest of it. So yeah, that's how I've chosen to spend it in the past. I've had other uncomfortable Christmases where I've sat around a family dinner table with people that you know, I didn't really particularly want to be with, if I'm honest, and conversation's been very strained, and I've just felt really uncomfortable. I just think, why am I doing this? You know, I think when I went past 40 years of age, I just thought, there's no need to keep doing this. You know, I don't want to be here. why do it? Why not look after myself and be a little bit more selfish? But this year was actually really, really good. We had, excuse me, but this year was really, really good. We had family over from India. It was their first time really experiencing a British Christmas. So it was, yeah, it was really chilled. Other than being told at about 10:30, I think it was, maybe on Christmas Day, that I was in charge of cooking Christmas dinner. And yeah, some of the items that we had to cook needed to be defrosted, including the Christmas turkey, of course. So that was an interesting challenge where I just thought, okay, how do I get around that? And I actually created a bit of a, well, it wasn't a spreadsheet, but it was a list in terms of cooking times and everything else as well, and trying to get it all in the oven at the same time was a really interesting challenge. But yeah, it was very chilled and relaxed. Obviously, too much food, a few drinks, nothing major, and just a bit of silly TV, Christmas movies, that sort of thing, and a few gifts. It wasn't extravagant at all, but it was lovely. It was close family. It was people around us. We were with their puppies, and it was wonderful. So if that helps to answer the question, Donna, I don't know whether it does or not, but yeah, that's how we chose to spend it this year. And I think I always have a kind of compassionate thought about people that aren't with family over a Christmas period, or choose to be away from their family and sometimes feel ostracized, because I know what that feels like, and I know what it's like to not necessarily feel welcome in that sort of scenario. So I always have a kind of compassionate thought about those sorts of people, or those sorts of scenarios that people find themselves in. And I'm a firm believer, just do what makes you happy. I don't subscribe to this whole idea that people have to spend time with their family because it's the right thing to do. I genuinely don't. I think it's, you do what's right for you. You make yourself happy. You have a better impact on the people around you when you're happy, is my philosophy, Donna. I don't know. I might be choosing something different to say to that question in maybe 10 years' time, when children and that sort of thing are on the scene. But for me right now, Donna, I genuinely believe do what makes you happy, and you'll be a lot better in yourself, and will show up a lot better to other people around you in your life as well. So hope that answers that question, Donna. Thank you for that. Getting to know me, I suppose. And wishing you a very happy new year, and thank you for being part of our WiggyWam community. All right, moving on. Question number 2 comes in from Anonymous. So Anonymous says, whoever you are, Anonymous, welcome to the WiggyWam community, and thank you for your question. Anonymous says, I've been a member of the home buying and selling group for some time now, and I have to admit to being somewhat frustrated at the lack of progress being made to help people move home quickly. It seems like there's a lot of talk, but not a lot of action being delivered. The group held a lot of promise when I first joined, but now it seems to be driven by many different personal agendas and not by a cohesive whole. You say there are things available right now to help people speed up the home buying and selling process. So why aren't people using them rather than trying to come up with something different? The market has just gone through the busiest period I've ever experienced, and at a time when agents and solicitors alike would have welcomed changes to make their lives easier, but nothing seems to have happened. It's so frustrating. When will things change for the better? And do you think the home buying and selling group are on the right path, or they are barking up the wrong tree? Okay, that's a big, long question there, but thank you for that, whoever you are who's submitted that one. Where to start with this question? Okay, I suppose I can start by saying I don't think that that's necessarily unfair criticism, although I'm sure some of the members or leaders of that group may well push back against that. My understanding is that when okay, not my understanding, where you have a situation like this, where you have a lot of people all focused on solving a particular problem, there's a couple of things that spring to mind. And one of those is that trying to solve the problem with the same group of people that have been part of the original problem can sometimes be really difficult, because there's no fresh perspective on things. And as a consequence, with no fresh perspective, you tend to look at things in a very similar light, right? And if you look at all the breakthroughs in various different other industries, it's generally come from somebody from outside the industry who's looked at something with a fresh pair of eyes, or has seen a solution in another industry and brought it in to apply it to a new industry in a different way, or tweak something a little bit differently. And that's what's led them to have major success. Okay, so that would be the first thing I would say. The second thing is trying to make decisions via committee is incredibly difficult, and I get very, very fed up when it comes to things like committees trying to make decisions on things, because nothing really gets done if you haven't got a leader who's prepared to live and die by the sword, if you like. Then it becomes incredibly difficult for any progress, any real progress, to be made. And what I think happens, and I'm not saying this is the case with the home buying and selling group, but it's certainly something I've experienced with different groups that I've been part of in the past, is that you have a bunch of people that have come together. They've all got their own individual agendas for whatever reason. Okay, there's no real leader. And so everybody's sort of fighting for position on, well, this is the solution. No, this is the solution. No, this is the solution. And so you end up with no real clear direction or leadership through the challenges that are presented. And so you get caught on this endless treadmill of meetings and more talking and all the rest of it, which seems to be what you're telling me is happening with this particular group right now. So I don't know whether that's the true experience, because I've not been part of the group, and I don't really understand what's going on behind the scenes. But you are right in what you say, is that we've had probably 2 years of the busiest market ever, and it does seem to be that there are sadly a real lack of progress in terms of solutions being delivered to the market that are actionable and that people can get on with things right now. Now, in terms of answering that part of the question where I say there are things available right now, you only have to look at a slight switch in the residential property market, for example, to see exactly what I'm talking about. So if you're trying to sell your house via private treaty right now, I'm hearing anywhere between 16, 20, 26 weeks from offer through to exchange of contracts, right, as a general timescale. But if I go and sell a house at auction, for example, I can exchange contracts on the night, and we can complete that sale within 4 to 6 weeks, or sooner or later, right? Now, if the auction market in isolation is very quick and easy at getting deals done quickly, why can we not take some of those learnings, for example, and apply them to private treaty? And one of those learnings would be, why does a house sell quickly at auction? Well, because a large amount of the information is available up front. This is a very simple example, okay? So a large amount of the information is available up front in the form of what would be an auction pack, but actually you could use auction pack or seller's pack as synonyms, if you like. So the draft contract is there. All of the legal law society fixtures and fittings forms and property information forms are there. The searches are there. Okay, all of that information is available up front, and that makes a more informed buyer who can turn up on the night, bid for the property, and they've exchanged contracts. Very straightforward, very easy, very simple for estate agents to take a lead from that and apply that to their business to help them sell properties quickly. The same by working alongside with solicitors. And to me, it baffles me that I'm looking at this going, okay, well, that's a really quick and easy solution that could save 4 or 5 weeks off an average transaction time. And when you can take that quick win, it seems alien to me why that quick win isn't being taken by many different agents and solicitors up and down the country to help their clients move home quickly. And I think what might be happening at the back of all of this is that people are kind of waiting for the silver bullet approach. And what the silver bullet approach seems to be is that, these are the ideas that we've had about how things are going to change. And if you guys don't get on board and do this, then we're going to make the government make you do it. Okay, so in effect, what they're arguing for is not a silver bullet, but a big stick to beat their colleagues with to get them to move in an alignment with the ideas that these particular groups are having. And this might be unfair criticism of the home buying and selling group. As I say, I'm not part of it. I don't really know what's going on behind the scenes there. But and I welcome anybody to come and correct me on this. If I'm wrong, then feel free to let me know. Feel free to come on one of our webinars in the future and tell us all about what the latest innovations are. But when you've got an industry that's struggling because solicitors feel that a large part of the day that they're dealing with regulation or regulatory compliance it seems mad to me that you would want to introduce more regulatory compliance to an industry where your members are saying, we've had enough of all the regulation we're getting out of the industry. Okay, so why would you want to introduce more regulation to an industry that's already fed up and has had enough? That again defies logic. I don't understand why you would want to be part of that. But there are so many things that can be done, and I think the way that we're approaching it with WiggyWam is that you have to put the client at the center of the journey. And unfortunately, I think for a lot of people who are involved in the industry and have been involved in the industry for a long period of time, you become immune to what people experience when they're going through the journey of buying and selling a house. And it's only when people who are in the profession and they've actually moved house in the last year or 2 years or 5 years, they go through that pain themselves and they kind of wish things were better, right? But they then go, oh, it's too big to bring any change, it's too big to bring any change. But it's actually not. It's actually really quite straightforward and quite easy in my humble opinion. But if you've not moved house in 20 years and you're immune to the fact that your client rings you up every Friday and they're screaming because they can't move house, then you kind of become a little bit indifferent, I think. And that is a major challenge that we need to solve, which is professionals who are more indifferent to, and I don't think it's being done on purpose, by the way, I should clarify this, but they're just so used to it week in and week out that their clients are struggling or they're screaming at them or they're stressed out and all the rest of it. It's kind of, how do I say it? It's part of the course, that they're so used to that experience and they just throw their hands up and go, well, there's not much we can do. Where actually I believe there is, and I believe that that change can happen a lot quicker and easier than people actually realize if they're prepared to stand back from the situation and put the client at the center of the journey. And once you put the client at the center of the journey and you start to ask, what are all the hurdles and roadblocks that a client will experience when it comes to moving home? And actually, when you start to answer those questions, very quickly, the pieces of the jigsaw fall into place and you say, actually, it doesn't take that much to help this person move home quickly. And we can do it in half the time because we put the client at the center of the process. And the biggest kickback I see from all of this is actually professionals suggesting that their clients won't pay more for a more focused service because they think that everybody wants everything for nothing and they only want to pay low prices for things. And that's not true. Every single person I put this question to, where I've said, look, here's your options. You want to move house. Option A, okay, is you go out there, you find the property that you want. There's a 1 in 3 risk that it'll fall through. It's going to take you up to 26 weeks for you to exchange contracts, but you're going to get conveyancing at, say, 700 quid. And as I say, there's a 1 in 3 chance that your sale will fall through, leaving you with costs of up to £2,000 or £3,000. Option B is fast track through to completion. There's a 1 in 10 chance that your sale might fall through. We can underwrite your costs so that you don't lose money, and that's going to cost you 200 quid, but you might pay 1,500 quid for your conveyance, but it'll be done in 6 weeks. Which would you rather have, option A or option B? Like, it's a total no-brainer. Nobody in their right mind is going to say option A. Okay, so I hope that answers the question there, Anonymous. I really do think change is definitely coming, and change will happen sooner rather than later, whether or not that is by people in the industry. And if they fail to make those changes, then the market will not be kind to their businesses, is the way that I'm looking at it. And I think those changes will happen a lot quicker now that the market is beginning to slow down, because agents and solicitors alike will realize, actually, we need to do something different if we're going to make our businesses survive. And that's really, unfortunately, the way things have had to go in order for the market to change. So I hope that answers your question, Anonymous. And again, if anybody thinks I am unfair in how I view this situation, then please feel free to come on one of our webinars in the future and correct me. More than happy to have your opinion on here. And you can sort of set the record straight, as it were. But that's how I see things. There are methodologies that people can employ right now in their business to make moving house great again, if you like, to make moving house a lot quicker and faster and easier than it has been in the past. So feel free to get in touch and we'll talk more. All right. Thanks very much for your question. Okay, moving on. Question number 3 comes in from Adam. So Adam says, well, welcome, Adam. Great. Thank you for your question here. Adam says, I see you've written 4 books this year and you seem to be pumping out a ton of online content for WiggyWam, which is amazing to see. Do you have any tips on how to become more productive and how I can increase the amount of relevant content I'm putting out there for my target audience? I never seem to have time to do it. And there's a bunch of half-finished blogs taking up space on my hard drive because I'm worried they'll just be unread or worse, criticized by online trolls. What should I do to reach a higher level of productivity and break the negative thought patterns around my content? All right, Adam, well, thank you for that question. And again, thank you for being part of our amazing WiggyWam community. And by submitting your question here, hopefully I can get a chance to give you some pointers on it. It's a really interesting question, Adam, because I have, in probably the last 12 months or so, discovered Twitter, which I know has been around for a long, long, long time. But I've actually been amazed at how much value there is on Twitter in terms of following different people and how much sort of value they share with their particular audience. And there's a certain section of Twitter which is called Money Twitter, by those in the know, apparently. And excuse me. The money Twitter side of things has been really quite interesting to get into because you see various different people sharing various different things within their business. A lot of their businesses are tied to marketing or copywriting or sharing content and all the rest of it. And some people on there are fake, as you like, and other people are absolutely genuine and they share a huge amount of value, and you have to find your way between the two. But this question of morning routines or productivity comes up an awful lot. And I've read a whole bunch of stuff on there about how people set themselves up for the day. And some people get up early and they meditate and they journal and they go for a cold shower or they have a run or whatever else it might be. And what I'll say to you, Adam, is you have to find something that works for you. I'm a bit of a fan of Alex Hormozi, and Alex Hormozi just says his biggest hack for productivity is getting up early in the morning and just getting on with it. And I've got to say, actually, that has been certainly true for me certainly in the last 12 months, is having a divine purpose or having a mission, if you like, that you're going for really helps to focus the mind and puts you in a frame of mind where you will devote your time, effort, energy, and attention towards delivering that result. And if you're not quite sure what I mean by this, I'm going to suggest, Adam, that you watch a series. If you go on YouTube and type in "undercover billionaire" and then just click on Grant Cardone, and I think it's like maybe, I don't know, 3 or 4 hours worth of content on there. And what Grant Cardone did, he did a 90-day journey on building a business from scratch as an undercover billionaire, if you like. And it was all about, can I create $1 million business within 90 days? And the point of me mentioning this is not whether or not you want to create $1 million business in 90 days. It's looking at how someone who's high performance sees certain challenges. And bearing in mind, these guys are starting out with nothing on this challenge. So they're starting out with a truck and a mobile phone and $100 in their pocket. That's all they're starting with. And they have to start a business from scratch, get it up and running, and make it a legitimate business inside of 90 days. Now, when you don't have anything, which is the point of what the producers were trying to do with this particular show, when you don't have shelter, when you don't have food, when you only have $100 in your pocket, life changes and you become very focused on, okay, well, what's the first thing I need to do? Well, first thing I need to do is shelter. Okay, the second thing I need to do is, I need something to eat and drink. What's the third thing I need to do? Well, once I've got my shelter and my food and drink in place, then I can get on with the whole idea of making connections and building my business. And then that prioritizes things in a nice order. So for me, when it came to pumping out this content for books and online content, etc., I've adopted the mindset that done is better than perfect. Okay. And you kind of have to let the world decide what's worth viewing and what's not. And the only way to do that is to just get a whole bunch of stuff out there. So we've been very fortunate, Adam, in that, and we've seen this with other people that have contributed to WiggyWam as a platform, is that you can put stuff on YouTube, and we're finding this ourselves. We'll put a video on YouTube, and it might only show that we get 5, 6, 7 views or whatever else it might be, but then we put it on WiggyWam as a platform, and we send it out to our list or what have you. And some of those videos are, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 900 views. There's just an order of magnitude of difference in the response that people are getting. And we've seen this with other contributors. A gentleman recently was posting stuff to his own website, wasn't quite getting the engagement that he wanted. And all of a sudden they started sharing it on WiggyWam, and the views are skyrocketing. The feedback he's getting is great. And I think the point I'm making here, Adam, is that, to get over this fear of online trolls, you kind of have to put the stuff out there and see what happens. Generally speaking, it's not as bad as most people think, unless you're going to be extremely controversial, which is what some people do to try and garner online opinion, right? They try and be really controversial. They try and put stuff out there, and then, it's to get people talking, and that's what invites the negative feedback. But I think if you're just putting stuff out there to be helpful, to be educational, to support people, generally speaking, the level of criticism you're going to get is a lot less, okay? In terms of making time for it, for me, all I can suggest is you got to get up and you got to get on with it. And I found when it comes to writing, particularly in terms of writing books, for me, getting up at 4 a.m, which might sound extreme, but actually 4 a.m, wake up, get on with it, work hard for 3-4 hours before the phone starts ringing, before the emails start coming in. These things are great, but they're also the greatest distraction on the face of planet Earth. Okay. So you have to just put that on flight mode, keep it away from you, and just focus on the task that you're doing. I'm not one of these people who, as I say, who meditates and all the rest of it. I like to go for a walk with the dog if I can during the course of the day. That's a bit of clear head thinking time and allows me to process some of the things that I've been working on. But on the whole, the biggest productivity hack has to be, Adam, just get up and get on with it and start putting stuff out there and let the market decide. And generally, if you've made it a priority, it will happen. So for us, for example, the main priority in terms of actual content for the week is these weekly webinars. And by producing 1 hour of content through this weekly webinar, we then can create another 4 or 5, 6 bits of content out of this one particular video, and that increases presence. And then some of those videos will then become separate blog posts, and the technology is just getting better and better and better that you can harness to put more and more content out there in a way that your audience wants to consume. So it's not about repeating the same thing. It's actually about making things valuable for your audience. So some people will want to read a particular blog, others will want to watch a video, some will want to listen to a podcast. It's about putting it out there in a way that your audience wants to consume it. Okay, so I hope that helps, Adam. Anything else we can do to help you, by all means, let us know. But yeah, hopefully that will answer your question. And I would just, read through those blogs, tidy them up one at a time, and hit publish. And if you want to share them on WiggyWam, we'd love to have you on there. You can do that really quickly and easily. Just send me a message at happytohelp@wiggywam.co.uk, and we'll just get that content on there, and then you just see what happens. It'll be really interesting to see for you whether or not you do get that engagement and some much needed feedback, which will help solidify your thoughts with your writing. All right, Adam, thanks for that. Okay, moving on. Question number 4 comes in from Esme. Hi there, Esme. Thanks for being part of our amazing WiggyWam community. And Esme says, I read a property investment book by a famous author who said that you can buy investment properties in Australia and New Zealand, and it doesn't matter if you lose money every month because you get a tax write-off. Is this true? Because it conflicts with some of the things I've heard you say in the property investment videos on your website, where you say you can make money every month by buying right. Would I be better off buying abroad for investment rather than buying in the UK? All right, Esme, well, thank you for your question there. I really appreciate it. This is an interesting one because I think if it's the author I think you're referring to, I've also probably read a similar book or one of his. And this is when I first, oh my goodness, this is going back to, I think it must have been early 2000s. And I started off with, I think it was Rich Dad Poor Dad. And this is not the author that you're referring to, by the way. So I started off with Rich Dad Poor Dad. And then there were one or two other books, and they started talking about real estate investing. And I think it's the same in America and Australia and New Zealand, that you can buy certain properties and rent them out. And it doesn't matter if they do lose money every month, because they write that off against their personal taxes, right? But that to me seemed like a bit of a backwards way to invest. But you kind of listen to the expert's opinion and you follow suit because you think actually that's going to be really easy, right? And after I'd read this particular book, I'll share a funny story with you, Esme, which most people don't know. But this is before I ever got involved in property investing at all. As I say, I'd read one of these books, and I went to a seminar in no, it wasn't a seminar. It was an exhibition in Birmingham, and it was all about buying properties abroad. And this was in the early 2000s when properties were kind of taking off. And I remember speaking to this guy at this exhibition, and I was like, this is what I've read in this book, right? And he goes, yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. That's how you make money in property, right? And he said, you're basically, you might be losing money every single month, but the property value is increasing massively. And therefore, you make this massive gain and you get the tax write-off at the same time. And I'm like, okay, logically, that makes sense to me, right? And so I put down, I think it was like a £2,000, £3,000, £4,000 deposit on a new build bungalow that was going to be built in Adelaide, Australia, because I trusted this guy and his opinion and all the rest of it. And then thankfully, I went to a seminar about 2 months later, and I got listening to these property investment experts in the UK, and they were like, why would you want to lose money every single month, right, when you can actually make money every single month by buying right? And if you do it right, you can buy property with none of your own money. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, this guy's telling me I can buy a property and I'm going to put down £20,000 or $20,000 as it was then, and then I'm going to lose £150 a month, and then eventually the property will go up like 20%, and then I'll sell it and I'll claw back all my losses on it. And it kind of like, the more I thought about it, like, this didn't make any sense. And it probably does make sense if you're buying expensive property and you're a high earner, for example, in Australia, New Zealand, or America. That probably does make sense somewhere. But for me, it was more like, well, if I can buy property with little or none of my own money in the UK, and I can make money every single month so that it pays me, like, why wouldn't I buy in the UK, right? And so I ended up pulling out of that deal, and I lost that £4,000 that I put down as a deposit because it was like non-refundable. But it was the point of me telling that story as me is it was a big lesson to realize, actually, do you know what? I could have lost a whole lot more. I could have put my 20 grand in, and I could have lost 150 a month for however long. And that assumed, of course, that the property was going to go up in value. And it assumed, of course, that the developer would have finished off the project. And it assumed that I didn't have a troublesome tenant in it when, they're 12 hours ahead in Adelaide, Australia, and, the tenant could have trashed the property, and it could have been into all sorts of repair bills and hassle. And this is the kind of thinking that you do when you don't really know what you're doing, but you listen to somebody who's a perceived expert and they've written a book on it. You go, okay, great. Well, I can do this because, this is what this guy says. And then, the information they share in the book seems to make some kind of broad sense. And unfortunately, that's what I've seen with a lot of people that they've done is having coached, mentored, and trained a lot of people in property investment in the UK. I've seen a lot of people that have bought properties where they are losing money every single month, and it doesn't make financial sense to be doing that, because there are better ways of doing it if you know the formula and the equation for buying properties right in the first place. And that has to be led by buying property at a discount. And if you can focus on that, Esme, in terms of your buying tactic, that you're buying property at a discount, and then your second part of that equation is that the property cash flows, i.e. there's an excess of income every single month than what you're actually paying out. And don't forget, when you're working out your equation for your cash flow, you're not just taking into account your mortgage. Okay, you have to take into account your a lettings and management fee, and then you have to take into account what is known as, we call it monthly operating expenses, which is where you set aside an allowance every single month to cover the repair, maintenance, and upkeep of your property over the term of your ownership, okay? Otherwise, things will go wrong, like the boiler will fail or whatever else it might be, and you haven't got money set aside to repair it, and then you start entering problems, okay? So the cash flow equation has to be, you've got your rent coming in, that might be 800 quid a month. You're paying your mortgage, which might be 350 a month. You're paying your lettings and management 10% or 12%, whatever it might be. You're taking off your monthly operating expenses. Is there a net cash flow at the end of the month that goes in your pocket? If there is, that tends to be a good investment. But you must stress test your costs, i.e. your mortgage, at a rate of, with a base rate, shall we say, of 6%. Okay, there's quite a lot of information that I've given you, Esme, so you might want to rewind and watch this video a little bit over and over again. But if I was in your shoes, I'd be looking at investing in the UK, because we have a saying, or we have a saying in the property investment world, which is the diamonds are under your feet. Okay, so that you will probably find better investments here than you would ever necessarily find abroad. But a lot of people get attracted to buying abroad because it's exotic, right? So you're buying in a sun-kissed country, or whatever else it might be. But you know, there are all the sort of hassles that go with that. And if there are major problems, you know, are you really going to jump on a plane for 12 hours to get to Australia or New Zealand or wherever to try and deal with those problems and get the property turned around and fixed up and back on the rental market? I don't know, but those are the sorts of things that you want to be asking yourself, Esme. Okay, so I hope that makes a lot of sense. If not, or if you want more information, reach out to me, let me know, and I'll be more than happy to fill in the blanks on what I've just said to you. But it's something that I'm very passionate about, is making sure that new investors, particularly when they're trying to start off building their property portfolio, that they do it with safety, certainty, and speed. And those are the most important things. All right. So thanks for the question, Esme. Wishing you the best of luck. And yeah, as I say, anything else we can do, let me know. All right. Thank you. Okay, moving on. Question number 5 comes in from Trevor. Hi there, Trevor. Thank you for being part of our amazing WiggyWam community. So Trevor's question is that there's an estate agent who has opened up in our area, and I'm quite worried about the amount of instructions he's winning. He doesn't seem to have that much experience, as he's only young, but clients seem to really like him, and they're instructing him over me, and I have nearly 40 years experience in the business. We're both on the main portals, and our property details are of a similar quality, so I cannot work out what he's doing, which is causing clients to flock to his agency rather than use ours. I think he's doing some things on social media which we don't bother with because we don't think it's worth investing the time or money into, and we don't really get it. Could this honestly be the only difference between our two businesses? And if so, how can I get started with this newfangled medium? All right there, Trevor. Well, thank you for your question. Interesting to hear your experience where you're going up against a, shall we say, a young whippersnapper who is winning instructions in your area where you've been established for a very long period of time. And obviously, on the limited information you've given me, I don't know whether or not this is the difference that makes the difference. But if you want some pointers around social media or online exposure and all the rest of it, this is one of the things that I do see with a lot of businesses, is that, and I'll be honest, I've been in the same position myself, Trevor. Okay, so I didn't really get social media. I didn't really want to involve myself with it. You kind of, you know, for a lot of people, you tend to do the scrolling thing on social media, and you become what's known as a consumer rather than a creator. So the consumers are consuming the content that the creators create. And if that isn't a bit of a tongue twister, hopefully you'll see the wisdom in terms of what this particular younger agent may be doing in terms of exposing his business to more and more people. Now, one of the things that is interesting about social media is that if you look at most other advertising mediums that are online, where people used to place adverts in the newspaper, or people used to place adverts on an online portal, for example, it's very two-dimensional. And what that means is that you're not really getting any kind of insight into the business or the people behind that business that you can get now through exposing yourself through social media, where you create videos or you create audio content, and you're in a position where you can offer so much more detail and knowledge and experience that somebody can sit and watch a video of yours for 5 or 10 minutes and all of a sudden start to get to know you as a person. So think about it like you might watch, you might have a favorite actor, for example, Trevor, that you watch in particular movies and you go, do you know what, actually, I really like this person. And over time, because you've watched 2 or 3 of their movies, you feel like there's a bond or a connection with that person, even though if you met them in the street, they wouldn't have a clue who you are. But you feel as though you know them because you've seen them in various different roles, and you think, actually, this person, I like them because they are my kind of person, is how we relate to others who are like us, right? And so if you're in this position where you're kind of pumping out your property details to your mailing list, and you're doing the kind of online portal thing, what I find with a lot of the portals is that it doesn't really give agents the ability to make their particular business stand out. So if you look at how they work, they're an aggregator, right? So they list all of the properties in that particular area based on your criteria for sorting them. But the agents get lost in the ether. And I don't know many people, if any, that will go on a portal and then, find out more details about the agency concerned. And even if you do click through, all you get is, maybe the logo and maybe a little bit of text about that particular agency, and then the contact details. And you might not think, well, what more do you need? But my view is, if you're out there to win instructions, and this is what a lot of agents do, they want to be seen to be on the main portals because they want to win business from their particular clients. They have this sort of FOMO thing, which is fear of missing out, that they don't want to not be on the portals because their clients may choose to go elsewhere. But the portals aren't really giving them much in terms of exposure of their individual business. It's exposing their stock, but it's not allowing them to share more about who they are as an agency or who the people are behind the agency, which is more important. And if you know anything about sales, Trevor, which you should do after 40 years of experience in the business, you'll know that people buy from people that they like. And the way to get people to know, like, and trust you is to be sharing a lot of your knowledge and effort and wisdom through mediums like video or audio files or whatever else it might be. And the beautiful part about technology nowadays is that, through one of these things, you can quickly share a video, a 2-minute video or whatever else it might be on certain questions. And all of the other areas that you might need, such as, you can put the video onto YouTube, and YouTube allows you then to distribute it to a wider audience. So you could record a video, upload it to YouTube, then share it with your mailing list. These are the top 10 questions that we get asked by first-time buyers, for example. Might be something that you can approach this with and start to share this out there, because not only are you educating people, they're getting to understand who you are as a person so that they can begin to form a bond with you that falls outside of any traditional kind of medium. If that makes sense, any kind of traditional advertising medium, should I say. So I hope that gives you some idea. It's a bit like if you look at some of the popular brands that are out there right now, why do they get celebrities to endorse those particular brands? And it's because people have formed a subconscious connection with an actor or actress or a musician or whoever it might be, a pop star. They formed a subconscious connection with them because they've seen them on TV so many times. And now they're endorsing this product. Wow, okay, well, I must buy that product because I've got a closer connection with that person. And it might seem to you to be absolutely crazy that people will do this, but it works. And that's why advertising agencies employ this sort of thing in their business. And it's one of the things that you can tap into, Trevor, when you start to share your knowledge and experience with the general public about the abilities that you have to help people get the best price they can for their home and why they should look at employing you to market their properties, rather than somebody with less experience than you, for example. So I'm giving you a few pointers here, Trevor. I hope that would be of use to you. What I can honestly say is that this is one of the reasons why we wanted to establish WiggyWam as a property platform, is because it puts the agent front and center and allows them to build their business off our platform, rather than you being caught in the sea of obscurity amongst many other agents. And the reason why we built it this way is because it allows your business to share more of its personality, because each business has a culture, right? And each of your staff members have a personality. And it might be that you have you have your business, which is online, and then you're sharing your culture with many different people, but your staff are also sharing their personalities on there as well. And it might be that, and I found this with the agencies that I used to work at previously, is that there were 4 or 5 of us as staff, and we all had very different personalities. And some were amiable, some were drivers, some were analysts as personality types. And if you don't know what that means, go on our website, because I've recorded some content around that, Trevor. But the point being is that different people get attracted to different personality types, and that's what helps them win business. So it's not just about the agency as a whole, it's the individual concern. And that's how we built WiggyWam, to try and put more of your personality into your business, so that you can attract more clients and win them that way. So, a lot of agents are looking for a lot of these hacks on how to win more instructions. It's like, well, give me this script for this, or show me the template that I need to use for this. And it's actually, I think it's a lot simpler than that. It's about sharing more of who you guys are, more of your personality out there. And that's exactly why we built WiggyWam the way that we have, to take advantage of this social media element of networking, so that you can get referrals from many other businesses as well, but also sharing your personality to a wider audience that will help you win more business. So hope that helps, Trevor. Let us know if there's anything else that we can do to help you and support you. If you want to be taken by the hand and guided through this, then I'll be happy to do so. If you want to enter our £50,000 Christmas giveaway, just send me an email, happytohelp@wiggywam.co.uk with the subject line Christmas giveaway, and I'll gladly get you on board with that roadmap journey. And we'll see how things play out over the course of the next 12 weeks. But I guarantee that if you approach this in the right way, the real benefit of doing this, Trevor, which many people don't talk about, but the real benefit of doing it is that if you invest 1 or 2 hours into recording some content and putting it out there online, that content is what's known as evergreen. So it will sit on the internet forever, and will, anytime somebody searches you or whatever, that content will come up, and you're doing the work once and you're getting rewarded forever as a result of doing it. So that's one of the major benefits of doing this, Trevor. I hope that gives you some clarity on things. As I say, if you want us to guide you through it, I'm more than happy to do so. Just let me know, and I'll do what I can to help and support you. All right. Thank you for that, Trevor. Okay, moving on. Our last question comes in here from Rose. Hi there, Rose. Thank you again for being part of our amazing WiggyWam community. So Rose says, I recently saw a social media post which suggested that some estate agents describe first-time buyers as effing time-wasting bar stewards. Is this really true, as I'm horrified to think that some agents would think so little of their potential clients? Why would they think that way when all we're trying to do is buy a home to live in? It's not our fault if we lack the experience on how to buy a house and have to ask more questions than most other people. It doesn't mean that we're time wasters, though. All right there, Rose. Well, thank you for that question. If I'm honest, I think I've seen the particular post that you refer to, and I was a little bit shocked to see that, particularly from the individual concerned who put that out there, because I thought it was a very, how can I put it? I thought it was a very aggressive post from somebody who's ordinarily very professional. And I did not think, frankly, that well, certainly in my experience, I've never heard estate agents describe first-time buyers like that, not at all. And I think there was quite a lot of outrage from some agents who, well, quite a lot of agents actually who saw it, who also agree with me, that would say, actually, we've never referred to first-time buyers like that at all. In my experience, most estate agents like to take first-time buyers by the hand and help them, because there's generally, if I'm honest, more financial gain from working with first-time buyers, because they need a mortgage, they need help and advice. So one of the first ports of call for an estate agent is to put the first-time buyer in front of their mortgage broker. Okay. Now, if they take out a mortgage with their mortgage broker, then the agency gets paid some revenue. So for me, I've never, as I say, never really heard of estate agents describing first-time buyers as time wasters, particularly with the language that was used, because it doesn't make logical sense. Yes, you guys need a little bit of extra hand-holding, but that's usually welcome, because the estate agent gets to demonstrate their knowledge and take you by the hand and walk you through that. And to be fair, back in my estate agency days, I used to quite enjoy it as well, because, to be honest with you, at that point when I first joined agency, I'd never bought or sold a house in my life at all. So we were kind of all learning at the same time. And it was only as I entered my early 20s that I began to get involved with buying and selling property that I learned a hell of a lot more in a very condensed time period. And working through a number of deals with different people, I began to learn more and more and more about the process, where I could help and guide first-time buyers, or anybody really, in terms of buying and selling property. What I would say is that people don't move home very often. It might be 10 years, 15 years, 20 years between house moves. And in my experience, not many people, I would probably say 80% of buyers and sellers, don't really know all of what's involved in buying and selling a property. So they all have a lot of similar questions. They all want a lot of similar advice on what's involved. And it's that 20% of the market that's maybe moved home more frequently, or they've been involved in the industry in some way, either as a professional, or they've bought and sold many properties in their life, that kind of know a little bit more than most agents and solicitors. But yeah, to hear this kind of description for first-time buyers, I thought was, how do I put it? Yeah, it was. I think it was in poor taste, if I'm honest. And I don't understand why somebody would do that, unless it's to sort of grab headlines, or make people jolt and try and grab attention, which is a kind of marketing tactic. But yeah, I don't think it works particularly well when it feels like somebody is being attacked for being inexperienced, which I think you can say for a lot of people. We've all been novices at the things that we do as a profession nowadays, right? So to use that kind of language to describe somebody who's a bit of a novice in a certain area is a bit choice in my experience. So yeah, I think from your point of view, Rose, I'm presuming that you are a first-time buyer and that you need some help and support in buying and selling a property. If I can direct you to our website, which is WiggyWam.co.uk, you will find a whole bunch of training videos in the background there. So if you click on our Learn section on the WiggyWam website, once you've registered and go in there, click on Learn, and we put a whole bunch of I call them training videos, but it's a whole bunch of knowledge and information based on sort of 25 plus years experience in the industry that will walk you through every step of trying to buy or sell a property. And we put that together purely because we see that a lot of first-time buyers, and as I say, a lot of people who have never moved home before, or it's been a long time since they last moved house, all of that knowledge and information kind of gets forgotten about from their past experiences. So we put that information together so that you've got one resource to go to where you can watch all of this different material and start to get a bit of a feel for what's actually going on, and how you can sort of direct your inquiries to the right people, the right professionals, the right people who are involved in your moving journey, and to help you get the answers that you're looking for. And obviously we're here as a resource to help you as well, Rose. So if there's anything else that we can do to help or support you, then please feel free to get in touch with us. Let us know. And, we'll be glad to help you out where we can. And again, it helps us massively as well, because not only are we helping to share our knowledge and experience, but also by you asking questions like this, Rose, we can share that knowledge with more and more people through our database and on online as well. So feel free to send in any more questions that you've got, Rose. We'd be delighted to answer them for you. And best of luck in your home buying and selling journey. All right. Thanks for that, Rose. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time and attention today. Really appreciate you being with us, as always, week in, week out. We've done 17 weeks of this now, and I'm really excited as we go into the new year, because we've got, still a ton of work to do, but some pretty amazing announcements coming in early January. So keep an eye open for those. For those of you that have other questions or concerns or comments or feedback, feel free to feed them back to us on happytohelp@wiggywam.co.uk. That's our email address, which is happytohelp@wiggywam.co.uk. You can also go to our website to find more knowledge, resource, and experience, which is wiggywam.co.uk. That's wiggywam.co.uk. Or you can find us on Twitter, which is hashtag is at WiggyWam_UK. So that's at WiggyWam_UK. And you can send us questions or follow us for different knowledge and information that we share on social media through there as well. Please do consider subscribing to these videos, hitting that like button, and also sharing it with your friends and family on social media, because it does help us to increase our reach and solve problems for people that they're dealing with that could be really, really useful, or save them a fortune in abortive fees or getting a deal wrong, which costs them a lot of money in the long term. So thank you for all your support as always. I'm wishing you a very, very, very happy new year, and wishing you all the best for 2023. I'm excited to see what the year will bring. I know we've got a lot to be doing and getting on with and sharing with our amazing audience. So if there's anything else that we can do to help and support you as we enter this new year, please feel free to get in touch with us, and it would be our delight and a great privilege to help and support you in your journey. All right, so thanks for tuning in, guys and girls, and I will see you again on next week's episode in the new year. You take care. Thanks ever so much. Bye-bye.